and welcome to another episode of Madhu Decodes, where we are helping bridging the gap between AI enthusiasts, AI agency owners, and business owners themselves. Today, we have Nick Woolley, an AI consultant who has a wealth of experience, over 2 decades of IT experience, predominantly in the space of ROI and sales uplifts. He is layering all those knowledge into the AI and innovation space. He's turning automation into revenue and capacity gains, and he's doing analysis and diagnosis to see which business areas are giving high performance. And he is the expert in AI Audit and ROI space, who he is going to share all his knowledge to agency business owners and the AI enthusiast. Thank you, Nick. Thank you for coming on. We are very happy to have you here.
Happy to be here, Madhu. I'm very excited, and thank you very much for the introduction.
Thank you, Nick. Can you tell me how you thought about this space? How did you think venturing into helping business leaders would make real sense in the AI world?
So yes, this is kind of a few sort of decades in the making. So I've always worked in sort of high performance and scaling businesses, but whether they be startups, whether they be larger businesses are scaling quite aggressively. And AI and innovation is something that's really been interesting to me. So before the boom has really happened, I've worked with some key data scientists who have always been looking at sort of the more data-driven stuff. So it's always been there. I've always had also that entrepreneurial in me and that streak that I've never sort of forged out and done my own path. So yeah, it's a happy combination of a lot of things coming together. I've done a lot in the past of product development, product management, managing operations teams, and I know we're talking about auditing, but I've done sort of the more drier, if you will, like quality auditing. And then when the AI came up and it's sort of moving into transformation, it's moving into really focusing on driving value for businesses, I thought, here's where I can put all my skills together and really push that forward. Yeah, I'm an engineer at heart, and engineers always like solving problems, whether they be a problem in sales, whether they be in a problem in somewhere else. So yeah, I like that detective work.
I like that. I really like that.
We'll be talking about that shortly. We'll put our detective hats on and start doing our auditing.
Thank you, Nick. I think we need to break down what an audit really means. So audit has got different meanings in business world, and we're talking about an AI audit. Can you please break down your definition of an audit? What kind of audit are you doing or helping business owners do and achieve?
Yeah, so my audit is quite sort of wide and deep. If you imagine sort of the kind of theory about it, it's kind of a T-shape. So you look across a few areas, you would probably be focusing on one main function or area of a business, unless you really want to go fully agnostic, and then you really want to drive deep on that. So people sometimes don't like the term audit because it seems like it's a financial audit or a risk audit, and it seems like you're trying to cause problems or find problems. But what you're really trying to do is unearth, through various different techniques and methods that we'll talk about shortly, really what are the root issues, points, pain points, stresses within a business that you're ultimately trying to resolve. So what I mentally, and what I also position the audit with people I'm working with, is that it's all about finding the opportunities.
Hi, Nick, let's jump on to the main question. So I think people would need to know what an audit is in the AI space and what kind of audit we are going to talk about today in this podcast and make people understand.
Sure, yeah. So the audit is really an opportunity to assess what AI could do for a business. So it's taking a look across a particular work stream or an operation or an area of a business and being able to map that from a problem ultimately to a solution. And you're not trying to force AI in there, but obviously you want that solution to be something that AI can support.
Thank you. And what sort of outcome are business owners going to expect, should expect after the audit?
So the audit, for my approach, when I'm working with sort of larger businesses, they want something that is effectively management ready or board ready. So you're looking at things about like ROI, you're looking at break-even points. You're kind of taking a little bit of a financial look at it. What's your revenue uplift, for example? How much time is saved? So everything is quantifiable there. But I also take, and this is sometimes a little bit overlooked, a little bit more looking at the people aspect. So how are you affecting people's stress? Are they feeling more empowered? Have they got the tools that they are missing before? So things like that as well. So yeah, kind of multiple aspects, but I make sure that you make sure you're looking at it a business and also a people perspective.
Okay, thank you. So it looks like you're doing an assessment of their business practices. The outcome is for the business owners to understand where they can implement AI in the automation. space and how much revenue they can generate, and whether they are also set up both technically, mentally, and in all
Correct,
aspects.
yeah. So you're trying to find that problem, ultimately a solution that you can then move forward with the business to develop something that ultimately gets implemented. So yes.
Nick, thank you. That's great. So it's an AI assessment that, to make it really short for people to understand. Thank you so much. So let's dive into what kind of an audit process would look like. So what are the steps? How do we get there to do an audit?
Yeah, so there's multiple ways you can sort of skin the cat, so to speak. Well, first of all, it's always good to have interviews with people, so get things face to face where you can start digging deeper. So it's good to talk to whoever your main person is, ultimately someone in a more senior role who knows what the business's objectives are, because if you don't have those north stars or directions, you might start veering off into things, ultimately a destination that you don't want to end up being in. But you also need to talk to, and I appreciate this might be for larger organizations, the people who are actually doing the work and the execution, because they will have a different perspective potentially, and that's more often the case. Okay, what is really happening? And it's not that those viewpoints are necessarily in conflict, but they add a richer picture to that. So you've got that you can have particular questions and a way of sort of investigating and collaborating and looking at solutions on that front. And then you need to have a look at the data as well. And data can come in many forms. So some of it is if you're looking at revenue, for example, what are your revenue trends, your projections, etc. Where are they falling short? Where are they succeeding? Also looking at workflows and processes. So taking effectively the steps in that. Where are the gaps? Where are things falling through the cracks? Things like that.
Thank you. So what do you think are the reasons business owners would do an audit?
I think the audits for the business owners is that they're aware that AI is coming and it's really here already. So there's chances for growth, and there's also chances for protection and kind of avoid marginalization. Everyone's moving forward with AI in some respect. It's kind of impossible to take the opinion and position to stand still. So you have to do something, and it doesn't need to be the biggest thing in the world. But if you're a business owner, you say, okay, well, even if you know nothing and you're kind of just like, okay, I want to achieve something. If you're a business owner, start going forward with what you want to achieve for the business. So do you want revenue growth? Do you want quicker turnaround for your customer support? Do you want to reduce your expenditures? So really, it's a mindset that the business owner is still taking forward their prerogative of leading and owning a business or a function, but being aware that AI is such a strong enabler now. It can really make such a huge difference. And they don't need to be tech savvy. That's the AI consultant's job to be able to translate that and also find the solution for them.
Thank you, Nick. So are there any key questions business owners ask you when you step into the world of doing an assessment for such businesses?
Yeah, there's the cliched ones and the ones that you sort of have a tongue in cheek, but people often find, okay, they think AI is ChatGPT and answering questions. AI can do multiple things, and there's lots of deep layers about embeddings and technical aspects, which a little bit too far into it, but a key thing is, okay, what can AI do? And once you kind of string or follow that thread of, okay, you know what, AI can achieve it in this way, but it's really solving your problem, then that's kind of the eureka moment for them. It's like, okay, AI is not here to steal jobs. It's not here to just be a ChatGPT or a chatbot. It's okay, it can really reduce admin burden kind of automatically. You can do things while you're sleeping, etc. So once you've kind of given that education and that kind of widening of the mindset and viewpoint, it becomes very clear, and it's the strongest and most progressive, I guess, people advocates of the tech I found are not necessarily tech savvy. They're the ones that say, okay, you know what, I really want to move forward and be progressive and grow in whatever my business, and I'm going to be using AI to do so.
Thank you. That's nice. So let's break down the phases of the AI audit, right? Or maybe workflow, let's say. I know we started off by saying your first step probably is identifying a few key business stakeholders. And the second step is interviewing them on their pain points, right? Can we also go ahead and Can you tell us the entire workflow?
Yeah, so
what happens beyond that? Yeah.
The framework for the workflow goal, like you said, we're talking about the first interview, so you need to have the key stakeholder who will be able to get not only their viewpoint, but also what the objectives of this are, and that you need to keep following that through. Then from there, it's good to get at least 3 to 5 other perspectives, and that might be from, like I said, people doing the execution of the work, people who are working with that function or within that area as well. So you've got that. We go through the data as well, so it's effectively doing various aspects of business analysis, being able to identify trends, spot gaps, etc. From that, then it's effectively, like I say, however you want to look at it, my analogy is that you've got all these little bits of insight now that you looked at, and you're putting them on Post-its on the table in front of you. What can you draw together? So this is effectively your own analysis of the situation. We said, okay, you know what, through this objective, we've seen that things are maybe not necessarily aligned or optimized in this particular process. So, okay, well, if that's the case, what solutions, and it's not necessarily saying they're AI at this point, what solutions could solve that? You can do that and being quite open, so you're kind of taking a little bit of divergent thinking, say, okay, what can we do? And then this is the point of collaboration back in with at least the senior stakeholder of the business. Okay, let's narrow them down. What about this option? Does this work for you? What about this option? So you've ranked and kind of thought it through and done your analysis, but the key aspect towards the end is saying, okay, does this really work? Do you believe in this solution for your business? And if so, at that point or subsequently, depending on your approach, you say, here's all the numbers, here's all the proof, and here's the numbers, and here's the points from the interview saying, okay, here's what people have said about it, here's how now your solution has solved the problem at the start, and everything is effectively seamless. So it's not a 20-step program or it's 20 steps, it's about 4 or 5. And if you do that, your first and your last will effectively marry up.
Thank you. So I think it's very simple, as you said, right?
Okay.
Find the business problem or the objective, key stakeholders, interview them, get the data. And then the AI consultant job kicks in. The AI consultant actually does analysis, divergent thinking, understanding opportunities for AI implementations. And then you play it back to the business owners, but you also back it up with secret ingredients, I would assume.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's when the real clarity, I think, business owners get when you explain it with some of your key ingredients as to which business opportunity is best for them. So I think we need to probably ask you the obvious question. What are your key ingredients that ROI? So please, can you help us understand that part?
So yeah, I'll keep it simple. So when we're sort of looking to say, what are the solutions? There's no problem thinking of as many as possible, but in reality, you want to have probably 3 to 5 that you would, irrespective of your analysis technique, you would say, okay, I believe in this. And it's a little bit more than gut, it comes with experience, etc. So you've got those, and really what I then use is effectively a scoring rubric. So you're looking at effectively, what am I scoring these against? And you've got various criteria. So ease of implementation, for example, what's the ROI, what's the time saved, etc. And where, I guess, every individual is slightly different, you can weight those scores in a particular way. So it becomes very clear from a data perspective why this solution is number 1, number 2, and number 3, etc. And that gives you effectively the backing and substantiation. You're diverging out to effectively those 5 or so solutions, looking at them in a deeper sense, being able to score them from that perspective, and then being able to put the strongest ones forward for critique and critical review by the team or the people you're talking to at the business. So it does take a little bit of a pseudo-scientific approach, but I think that's one thing that is missing. It's not necessarily complicated, but people come forward and say, okay, here's why I believe in this, and it's a quick win, and it gives you your ROI.
Okay, I understand. Thank you for breaking it down for us. So your unique scoring mechanism is another key ingredient that you have, and explaining the ROI is the key ingredient from a business owner's point of view, right? Thank you.
Yeah.
So what do you think any AI enthusiast who wants to become an AI consultant and do an assessment like you did, what should they actually think about when they are doing their own audits? What would you recommend?
I would think my viewpoint is, and this is where I started, is that you should have a clear and very simple process. We've talked about it today, but everyone can take this and adapt it into whatever suits for them. So if they're going into a particular sector or a particular type of business, you can hone that. And you can also be able to take a deeper understanding about who you're talking to and who your stakeholders are. So a sales director, for example, whilst this is a little bit stereotyping, as an ICP, a sales director may be very different to an operations manager, may be very different to a customer support or a financial leader. So making sure you understand who you're talking to and who your market is very key. And you need to do that irrespective of that. Your process fundamentally doesn't matter, but it needs to ensure that whatever's coming in, so your inputs and ultimately what the business needs, what you're delivering at the end as an output marry together. And you can do that as complicated, as complicated or as nuanced as it needs to be, or it can be ultra simplified. So I'd keep it simple, and especially when you're starting, I don't think you need to overcomplicate your own process. And then the third point, a bonus point, is that once you've got that, just start going. You need to get reps under your belt, even practicing on friends and family, talking to people that you've got and kind of doing an audit of their scenario. That'll help you not only test your process, but start building up that confidence that you can do an audit.
That's great to hear. Thank you, Nick. Thank you. Any online resources do you recommend?
I would say, well, we've got a small framework with this video that people can take a look at and sort of educate and make sure that when you're going into an audit, you feel comfortable and in control of the situation, and do it in a collaborative manner. Don't be preachy either to them, say, this is what I think and this is why I believe it. It's all about making sure that ultimately the business owner believes in it at the end. And similarly, if you are a business owner, you want your consultant to say, I've done the work, I've thought about it deeply, and here's how I truly believe and have conviction in these solutions for you.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you for all your insights today and giving us a very good background of how the framework for an audit should look like, what are the key steps. And I think you've also touched upon some of the key ingredients that you apply, right? The scoring mechanism, the ROI calculations, etc., for an audit to become meaningful and successful. And you also said that you are going to drop a link in the description that might be helpful for doing audits, right?
Yeah, exactly. So there'll be a link to a document. People can take that, use it, change it, do whatever they want to sort from that. Similarly, if you're a business owner, you can say, you know what, here's how a consultant like myself would come into the business and say, what are we looking at and how we bring that solution? So it'll work both for people who are aspiring AI consultants and also business owners who are open at looking at AI solutions.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing all the knowledge and helping us. Thank you.
Anytime. Thank you.